Hello and welcome back, guys. We're now starting a new story, All for One, Izuku, a My Hero Academia, by Prysmordia. You can find author's profile link in the description. Let's begin. Izuku Midoriya had lived his life without a quirk, from his first chance at 4 years old until the present day when his quirk still hadn't manifested. Although a doctor had mentioned that he had a quirk, its activation remained a mystery, leaving him feeling as if he were quirkless. This situation led to others viewing him as useless, much like the quirkless individuals who lacked respect in society. The worst of these was Katsuki Bakugo, who had bullied him since they were 5 years old, and now, at 18, the torment continued. Just give up, Deku. You have nothing to prove. Katsuki shouted, delivering a harsh blow to Izuku's stomach. One of Katsuki's friends remarked that he thought Izuku had endured enough. What did you say, extra? Does it still not get that he will never be above me? He's useless, he has no quirk. Katsuki was suddenly interrupted when a girl grabbed his shoulder. Katsuki, that's enough, she said firmly. Katsuki complied, stepping back. You're lucky, Deku, Shirnoa saved you again. Shirnoa was Katsuki's girlfriend and often came to Izuku's aid. You should go, Katsuki. You wouldn't want anyone to see you bullying Izuku, would you? Your career is on the line. Katsuki paused, realizing the truth in her words. Yeah, you're right. He stepped away from Izuku. You and your friend should go. I'll stay here and help him. Izuku felt a wave of relief wash over him as he watched Katsuki and his friends walk away. He sighed, wiping the blood from his mouth. Thank you, Shirnoa-san. You saved me again. To Izuku's surprise, Shirnoa began to help him clean the blood from his face. Look at you, I always wonder why you don't stand up for yourself. You know I won't always be here to save you, right? As she cleaned his face, Izuku noticed the affectionate look in her eyes, which confused him. Thank you for always being here for me. He locked eyes with her as the atmosphere shifted. Shirnoa paused for a moment, her finger brushing against his skin. Everything about you is sweet, from your attitude to your face. Izuku felt his face flush. Unbeknownst to Shirnoa, Izuku's blood had special properties. It was unique, and she seemed to be affected by it. What are you doing, Shirnoa? He asked, noticing her expression change. She seemed to be drawn to him, her hands exploring his body, and he felt a mix of emotions. Katsuki always bullies you. Let me give you something special as an apology. She leaned in closer, and Izuku felt a rush of emotions he had never experienced before. Shinozen, he murmured, feeling overwhelmed by the moment. As they shared this NTMT connection, Izuku felt a surge of strength within him. He realized that perhaps he could stand up for himself after all. Manifest, he suddenly exclaimed, feeling a shift within him. A moment of silence followed as he processed what had just happened. I have her quirk, he wondered, astonished by the realization. With newfound determination, Izuku was ready to embrace whatever came next. Shirnoa left half an hour ago, her departure leaving Izuku with a lingering sense of unease. Before she left, she whispered something in his ear that sent a cold shiver down his spine. If it's positive, I'm keeping it. The implication of her words weighed heavily on him, suggesting that if she were to become pregnant, she would choose to keep the child. After that, Izuku brushed himself off and went to a clothing shop to buy new apparel, as his body had changed significantly. He couldn't go home in his previous state, so he opted for new clothes. Now, he looked different, chiseled abs and a defined jawline. When he arrived home, his mother was shocked to see a handsome young man instead of her shy little boy. Izuku spent an hour explaining to her that he had gained a quirk. Hearing this, Inko took his hand excitedly. Let's go, you need to have your quirk checked out. Izuku didn't reveal how he had gained it, and Inko was thrilled that her seemingly quirkless son had awakened a quirk. Okay, Mom, I'll go with you, he said as they booked a taxi. After almost an hour, Izuku and his mother sat outside the quirk doctor's office. Izuku Midoriya. Inko heard her son's name announced by the doctor's assistant and gently patted him on the back. Go, it's your turn. He left with the assistant while she waited alone. Izuku sat on a white bed while the doctor, a bald man with goggles, stood beside him. So, young man, what did you experience after your quirk awakened? He asked. So it's you. It's been a few years since I last saw you. Care to talk about it? Izuku nodded. You see, Doc, I seem to have copied someone's quirk. The doctor nodded, pleased to hear about another copy quirk. It had been a while since he had diagnosed someone with such abilities. All right, continue, the doctor encouraged, writing down Izuku's explanation. And I learned that I could copy someone's quirk through. Izuku hesitated, feeling embarrassed. The doctor urged him to continue. Through a unique experience, the doctor looked surprised, not knowing how to react. How did you find that out? He stuttered, intrigued by the young man's quirk. I had an encounter with my bully's girlfriend. The doctor couldn't help but laugh. It had been decades since he had laughed like that. I see. Can you copy another quirk if you have a similar experience with someone else? The doctor asked, noticing Izuku's flushed cheeks. I don't know, document. I haven't tried it, Izuku replied. The doctor, seeing a perfect opportunity for an experiment, snapped his fingers as a portal made of swirling black blobs appeared beside him. This will be our little secret. Not even your mother needs to know about this. I'll invite someone over so we can test something out. Izuku gulped nervously. A pale-looking blonde woman emerged from the portal. You called, document? She asked, and Izuku's cheeks flushed even more. Izuku Midoriya, this is Gene Alter, my own creation. Izuku's eyes widened in confusion. Creation? He asked, intrigued. Give me time, young man. Gene Alter is not fully human. She's a bioengineered human with DNA from a fallen first-generation heroine. I found that DNA from a locked database from the past. She's an altered clone of the first-generation heroine known as Jeanne d'Arc. Izuku gazed at the appealing woman in awe. Who's this handsome young man? She asked the doctor, smiling and waving at Izuku. Izuku here is my patient. He needs help determining the limits of his quirk. Izuku nodded in agreement. Jeanne looked at him thoughtfully. And how exactly could I help him? She asked. The doctor smiled, a hint of mischief in his expression. You could assist him in exploring his quirk further. Izuku felt a mix of apprehension and curiosity. What do you mean? He asked, his voice shaky. The doctor explained the nature of Izuku's quirk and how it could be tested. As they discussed the possibilities, Izuku felt a sense of uncertainty about what lay ahead. After the appointment, Izuku emerged looking exhausted. The doctor supported him as he limped slightly. You okay, young man? He asked. Izuku nodded, the experiment just took a lot out of me. Inko, waiting outside, looked concerned. Izuku, are you alright? She asked. He assured her he was fine, but Gene Alter stepped out and took his arm, allowing him to lean against her. He's going to be fine, she said confidently. As they left the office, the doctor thought to himself about the success of the experiment and the potential data he could gather from Izuku's unique quirk. What do you mean by my son is your MSTR? Inko asked, having just heard that Dr. Garaki had finished the final cover-up story. Mrs. Midoriya, your son has had another breakthrough with his quirk. He can copy someone's quirk through close interactions, and he can also manifest spirits through his imagination. He pointed at Izuku and then at Jeanne. Jeanne is part of Izuku's quirk. To her, Izuku is her MSTR. She is a sentient quirk. He winked at Izuku, who looked at the doctor with gratitude, relieved that he didn't have to explain everything to his mother. Izuku, your quirk is truly amazing, and you have someone with you all the time. It's like having a friend with you 24. Inko beamed with pride. Though he was now 19, she still saw him as her little boy in an All Might onesie, reminiscing about the good old times. Thanks, Mom. Izuku knew it wasn't part of the plan to include Jean in his life, but he understood the doctor's perspective. I still have another patient scheduled, so can you give me a name for your quirk, young man? Dr. Garaki asked. Izuku paused for a moment. I don't know, Doc, the doctor thought for a bit. I may have an idea, but this name is tied to a first-generation quirk holder and one of the most feared men in the world. Dr. Garaki explained. It's called All for One. This quirk allows the user to take other quirks from their holders, leaving them quirkless. However, you can gain quirks through close interactions, so bear with me. The name I propose for your quirk is All for One, all, quirks girls, for one, you, Izuku Midoriya. What do you think? He chuckled at the last part. Inko considered the name for a moment. Izuku, I think you should take it. Izuku nodded. Alright, Mom. If you say so, okay, Doctor, I would like that name for my quirk. The doctor chuckled again, pleased that Izuku took the joke in stride. That's settled then. I'll make some arrangements with your data. Please wait for my update, and I'll send the final papers to your address. Izuku thanked the doctor for his help. Take good care of Jean now, young man. As the three walked away, Dr. Garaki was left alone, watching them with a sense of pride, like a father seeing his creation leave the nest. Let's see how you fare, young man. The second coming of All for One, if All for One were Issei Hayadu. Yes, Dr. Garaki had watched High School DxD when he was younger. Inko adjusted their apartment to accommodate 3 people, offering Jean her own room, but the pale woman declined, insisting on staying by Izuku's side. I guess it's decided, you'll have to share your room, Izuku. Izuku blushed at the suggestion, wondering why he felt embarrassed. After all, he had already been with 2 girls, so sharing a room with one shouldn't be a big deal. Oh, and I have a question for you, Jean dear. Inko glanced at Jean. Yes, she replied. Are you experienced in fighting? Inko asked. Jean nodded. Yes, ma'am. I'm experienced in close combat, a bit of hand-to-hand, and I'm a MSTR in swordsmanship. Inko listened intently. I see. Can you do me a favor? Please take good care of my little boy and train him well so he can defend himself. Inko took Jean's hands. Promise me, please, as his mother, I worry about him. If he pursues his dream of becoming a hero, he needs the skills to protect himself. Seeing the distressed mother, Jean instinctively hugged her. Why yes, ma'am, Jean began to pat Inko's back. I want in on that too. Group hugs. Izuku jumped in, wrapping his arms around both of them. Groupie. Izuku exclaimed joyfully. Izuku and Jean took their time exploring UA grounds, arriving 30 minutes early. Oh, there. A bench. Izuku took Jean's hand and led her to the bench. Slow down, she said as they reached it. Come. Izuku sat comfortably and patted the space beside him. Sit here, Jean-chan. Half an hour later, Izuku was still on the bench, with Jean resting her head on his shoulder, enjoying her sleep. You look amazing sleeping, Jean. It's almost time, but I won't disturb your rest. Izuku lifted her by the waist and stood up, with her still clinging to him like a koala. As he walked among students from other schools, a flamboyant boy with spiky red hair approached. Whoa, manly. Yo, bro, you're strong. Izuku looked over to see the boy. Oh hey, thanks. He smiled. I'm Ijiro Kirishima, by the way. Do you hit the gym too? I'm Izuku Midoriya, nice to meet you. Yeah, I do sometimes, and this sleeping girl here is Jean, part of my quirk. Ijiro eyed him curiously, intrigued by the idea of a girl being part of Izuku's quirk. Quirk. What's your quirk, man? Kirishima asked. My quirk. It's all for one, which lets me copy quirks for a limited time. I can't copy quirks from guys, only girls, and Jean appeared when it awakened. Izuku explained, becoming adept at managing his responses. Kirishima nodded. Manly quirk. By the way, I think we only have 10 minutes, so we need to Deku. Kirishima was interrupted by an angry voice behind them. What are you doing here, Deku? Izuku turned to see his rival, Katsuki Bakugo, and felt a tick mark appear on his forehead in annoyance. I'm talking to you, Deku. Katsuki shouted. Behind him, Shinoa smiled at Izuku. Unnoticed by Katsuki. What do you want, Bakugo? Izuku replied, dropping the familiar nickname. What are you doing here in UA, you useless? Kirishima stepped in front of Izuku. What's your problem, man? You keep yelling for no reason. Katsuki glared at Kirishima, his anger directed at anyone who dared to interfere. This is between me and Deku, out of my way. Kirishima activated his quirk, ready to protect his new friend. Look, I don't know what kind of past you two have, but I can't let you yell at my newly met bro like that. Kirishima felt a pat on his shoulder and turned to see Izuku shaking his head. It's not worth it. Let it go, I'll handle this. Izuku stepped between the tension that Kirishima and Katsuki had. What do you want, Bakugo? Izuku asked, just as Katsuki lunged at him and grabbed him by the collar. This sudden movement caused Jean to wake up, standing a bit groggy. Who's this, MSTR? She asked. Izuku looked at Katsuki and recalled their past together. Someone who doesn't matter, he replied, slapping Katsuki's hand away. What did you say, Deku? I don't matter, huh? Shinoa intervened by grabbing Katsuki's shoulder. Enough, that's enough, Katsuki, she said, while Katsuki just scoffed and walked away, leaving Shinoa behind. Unbelievable, he muttered as he left. That guy is unmanly, Kirishima whispered. I'm sorry about him. Let's talk about us next time, Izuku. Shinoa stepped closer and whispered in his ear, glancing at the woman next to Izuku. Sure, Shinoa-chan. I'm sure you have some important things to discuss. He smiled. Yes, important, very, she said, massaging her belly and smiling at Izuku. Good luck on the exam, Daddy, she whispered as she walked in the direction Katsuki had gone. Izuku blinked in surprise. Did she just call me Daddy? He asked, while Kirishima patted his back. You've got one angry problem, man, ha ha ha. Come on, let's go. The three of them walked toward the exam hall. Jean pondered to herself, why did she have two life forces, as she looked at Shinoa's fading figure. Once again, Jean was sleeping on Izuku's lap, her head on his shoulder while he listened to the premise of the practical exam. He had already aced the written portion. And so you see here, little listeners, the three-pointer is hard to take down due to its large size and tough shell. Taking it head-on requires finesse. Present Mike winked at the listeners, providing a transparent tip despite the rules against giving hints. The most important aspect of heroics is to work together and save someone. Izuku wondered if the students understood or if it went over their heads. A boy with dark blue hair and glasses stood up, his posture stiff. Sir. I am Tenya Ida. I think you made some mistakes. Izuku glanced at him. The pamphlet says there are 4 robots, but you only mentioned 3, sir. If this is a mistake on UA's part, then I must say UA doesn't live up to its prestigious status. The boy glanced back at Izuku. You see, listener, I was ABO, Present Mike began, but was cut off by Ida's interruption. And you with the messy hair, he pointed at Izuku, causing Jean to wake up. Me? Izuku asked. Yes, you. What do you think this prestigious school is, some sort of LVHTL? Why do you have that woman sitting on your lap? Tenya reprimanded them, prompting Jean to roll her eyes. Wait, what? Present Mike said, confused. Listen here, you made me wake up from my sleep, and now you're reprimanding my MSTR. Can't you just keep your eyes to yourself and listen to what the proctor is saying? Jean retorted, knowing Izuku often wouldn't defend himself. MSTR. What do you mean by that? That's unruly behavior, Tenya continued, but Jean interrupted. Look here, glasses. He's my MSTR, and I'm his servant. I am part of his quirk, so I do what I want, wherever I want. Jean asserted. Jean, stand down, Izuku said gently. But she locked eyes with him. Yes, MSTR, she replied, glaring at Tenya before calming down and sitting back on Izuku's lap. Listen here, Tenya, whatever your last name is. Why don't you just take your seat like a good boy and let Present Mike continue? Izuku suggested. Tenya hesitated but reluctantly bowed. I am sorry, Present Mike, for my outburst. He sat back down. Good boy, Izuku said with a smirk. I'm sorry for commanding you to back down. It wasn't necessary, I could fight for myself, but I appreciate your gesture, he said, making Jean rest her head on his shoulder. I'm glad I have you, Jean. He gave her a gentle kiss on the cheek. She murmured, nuzzling against him. Time passed, and everyone gathered outside the fake city site. Izuku saw the huge door that separated him from his goal of getting into UA. Wait for my signal. When I do, run toward your future, little listeners. Present Mike shouted. Heck yeah, we'll ace this, right? Kirishima said, playfully nudging Izuku. We'll try our best, I guess, Izuku replied. Looks like someone is scared and stressed out. Wait for me, man, I'll be back. Kirishima walked toward a girl, reassuring her. Hey, don't be nervous. We can do this, just believe in yourself. He patted the back of a bob-cut brunette who seemed anxious. Thank you. I'm just not used to this kind of test, she admitted. Kirishima smiled. Me too. But I believe in myself, you should believe in what you can do too. He gave her a sincere smile. I'm Ijiro Kirishima, by the way. He reached out his hand. Ochako Uraraka, she replied, shaking his hand. Someone's getting a love story. What kind of sappy drama is this, MSTR? Jean teased, while Izuku shrugged. One where the spiky-haired knight assures the damsel in distress, he replied, both of them chuckling. The countdown began. It's starting. Izuku looked around to see Kirishima ready to run inside. Almost everyone except Izuku prepared to dash in. Kirishima took the girl's hands and ran inside as the timer hit. Everyone else followed, including Jean, who drew her sword, ready to face any robots in sight. Little listener. Aren't you going to go in? Present Mike asked Izuku, who was still outside the gate. Oh yeah, I'll take my time. My servant Quirk is already inside there, no doubt causing havoc, so I'll take my precious time walking in. Izuku began to slowly walk into the fake city site. Quite the confident little listener. Alright, you can take your time, I guess. Present Mike scratched the back of his head. UA viewing facility, teachers. Viewing area, I must say, we do have some good participants this year, Nizu said while sipping his perfectly heated tea. Especially at Site C and A, where Katsuki Bakugo is leading with 17 points already. Midnight chimed in, noting a silver-haired girl who was causing chaos by hunting too many robots, hopping from building to building. The screen showed Jean skillfully defeating a robot and leaping to the side of a building to find another target. But I don't see her in any of the files. Aizawa remarked, with Vladking nodding in agreement. Silver hair, oh, her. She doesn't have a file, all her points go to Izuku Midoriya. She's part of his quirk, Nizu explained. That's interesting, Snipe said, glancing at a screen showing Izuku casually walking down an empty road in the fake city. And what's his quirk? Toshinori Yagi, a blonde man with a skeletal appearance, asked. Oh, it says here at wait, what? Nizu paused in shock but calmed down after reading Izuku's file. Principal, what's wrong? Aizawa inquired. It's just his quirk almost gave me a heart attack. It's named All for One, Nizu said, his expression serious. Toshinori's BLD ran cold upon hearing the name. Oh, in the info, it says here that the doctor made a sort of joke by naming his quirk after the most wanted villain due to its potential and use, Nizu continued. Why? Just how powerful is the young man's quirk that the doctor named it after a villain as a joke? Vlad King asked, while Toshinori sat there, visibly shaken. His quirk, All for One, allows him to copy people's quirks for a limited time. Mainly just women since he gains quirks through let's just say it's a bit unconventional, Nizu explained, looking confused. Why did you pause and react like that, Principal? Midnight asked. He gains quirks through NTMT activities. This information is from his quirk doctor, the public record only mentions he gains quirks through close contact, not explicitly stated, Nizu informed them, leaving the teachers, including Toshinori, surprised and confused. Don't be surprised if he suddenly gets my quirk, Midnight said playfully. Namuri, no, Aizawa sighed, reprimanding her. Namuri, yes, she exclaimed, only to be sprayed by Nizu with a spray bottle, causing her to hiss like a cat. Izuku walked down the streets, contemplating what he needed to do. Perhaps he should find some robots and not let Jean do all the heavy lifting. There, a two-pointer, he said, using Shinoa's quirk to manifest a huge scythe. Have a scythe. He threw it at the two-pointer like a frisbee, embedding it into the robot's chest. Points for me. I need more. He raised his hands, and the scythe flew back toward him. More points. I need to be sure I can get into UA. More is better than being average, he said, using Jean's body reinforcements to leap toward a building, searching for another robot. I see one, a three-pointer this time. He leaped toward it, using gravity as a weapon, hurling himself at astonishing speed. Have this. And this too. Izuku sliced the robot downwards and sideways, leaving it in pieces. Back in the viewing room, put him in my class, Aizawa spoke up, causing Vlad to retreat from what he was about to say. It's new for you to pick favorites, Eraser, Nizu hummed. But sure, why not? Just remember, you're giving this problem to yourself, so good luck, Nizu replied. Help me please help. Shinoa cried out, badly injured on the ground, her leg clearly in distress from the weight of a fallen robot. Please, someone help me. I don't want to die, I still have to be, she rubbed her belly, needing to be strong for herself and the child growing inside her. Someone help, she pleaded desperately. Please, she was losing consciousness. Help me, and then she succumbed to the unbearable pain. Hey, are you okay? A girl with brown hair approached, gently resting Shinoa's head on her thigh. It's going to be fine. I know he's around here somewhere. Where was that red-haired guy who took my hands? She looked around, revealing herself to be Ochako. Who was it again? Yeah, Kirishimaya. She yelled with all her might. A minute passed, and though Ochako wanted to pass the exam, someone's life was more important, so she stayed with the unconscious girl. What was that? Ochako felt the ground shaking, fear creeping in as it grew stronger. She looked behind them and saw it, the zero-pointer, her eyes widened. No. Kirishima, where are you? We need help. Looking at the huge piece of the robot on top of Shinoa's leg, she realized she couldn't lift it, even using her quirk, she was too fatigued to try. 50 meters 45 meters the massive robot continued to close in on them. Viewing room, principal, stop the zero-pointer. There are students stuck on Street 3Z, Midnight yelled. I'm trying. It's not working. Power loader, what's happening? Nizu was frantic, pressing the off button, but the robot wouldn't stop advancing. I don't know, sir. I made sure everything was in top condition. Someone near the bot must have an electric quirk that interrupts the signals accidentally, Power Loader explained, knowing his bots were functioning properly. Go. Vlad King, All Might, you need to stop that bot at all costs. Toshinori and Vlad King rushed out of the room. Young man, please hear their plea for help. You're near them, please, until we can arrive. Please be on time, be safe, youthful heroes. Midnight prayed with her hands together, hoping the two girls would be all right. Kirishima. Kirishima heard the call and quickly changed direction, running faster as he followed the voice. Wait. He pushed himself to go even faster. Work with me, please. Red arcs of lightning began to spread around his body. I need to be faster. He focused the energy on his legs, propelling himself forward. He began leaping, gaining momentum until he spotted them. There you are, I'm coming, he yelled when he saw Ochako cradling an unconscious Shinoa in her lap. Help! Kirishima shouted as he arrived. The robot was closing in, and Kirishima assessed the situation. I need help, her leg is stuck under this thing. He looked at the massive piece of the robot that was pinning Shinoa down. I'll try to lift it up, hold her. He knew they didn't have much time as the giant robot loomed closer. Uraraka-san, please take care of her, Kirishima clenched his fists tightly. He could hear All Might's words echoing in his mind, a true hero would risk their life to save another. Kirishima leaped toward the zero-pointer, feeling the power of one for all ignite within him. Plus Ultra, he shouted in unison with All Might's voice. Detroit Smash. Kirishima struck the zero-pointer, creating a massive hole in its head. I did it, he gasped, feeling the pain in his arm as it throbbed from using his quirk to its fullest. As he began to fall, he activated his hardening quirk. Unbreakable. His arm stiffened, bracing for impact. Just before he hit the ground, someone caught him. Hey, you okay? It was Izuku, who had rushed over after hearing the shockwave. They landed, and Izuku helped Kirishima back to his feet. You know her, right? She's injured. Izuku glanced at where Kirishima pointed, and Kirishima fainted. No Shinoa. Izuku exclaimed, worry flooding his mind. He left Kirishima behind and rushed to Ochako and Shinoa, noticing the severe injury to Shinoa's leg. DMN it. Izuku gripped the broken robot part, using his enhanced strength to throw it away, sending it crashing into a building 200 meters away. Hey, are you alright? Shinoa, can you hear me? He cradled her head in his arms. Izuku, she murmured, her eyes barely open. All Might and Vlad King arrived just then. Her leg, young man, let us help. Vlad King quickly assessed the situation, straightening Shinoa's leg and using his quirk to stabilize it. Her leg is fine now, let's wait for recovery girl. Izuku nodded in gratitude. Izuku, you came for us, Shinoa said, taking his hand and resting it on her belly. Wait, you don't mean, she smiled at him. Yes, she looked into his eyes and leaned against him. I'm PRGNNT. Everyone froze, even All Might and Vlad King. Oh no, Vlad-san, call recovery girl. This young lady needs help right away. All Might urged, and Vlad King dashed off to find her. Young lady, are you sure? All Might asked gently. Why yes sir, I took the test multiple times, and it's positive I'm going to be a mother, she smiled, holding Izuku's hand as he rubbed her belly, still flat since it was early in the PRGNNCY. I can't believe it, Izuku said, concern etched on his face. Bro, Kirishima said, still trying to process everything. Why you don't want our child? Shinoa's voice trembled. I do want to keep our child, but don't you want to be a hero? Her shoulders slumped as she spoke, knowing how much Izuku valued his dream. I see All Might, I say this not just as a boy but as a man, I want half of my points to be transferred to her. I know my servant worked hard for those points, but I'm willing to sacrifice them for her chance. Izuku declared, gesturing for Ochako to take care of Shinoa for now as he stood up. Young man, All Might placed a hand on his shoulder. You would sacrifice half of what you gained for someone else, he paused, adding, I respect that kind of dedication. That is indeed the quality of a true hero. He smiled at Izuku, genuinely proud. There is no need for that. I will ensure she gets in, and I'll speak with Principal Nizu about creating a dormitory room for you too. All Might assured him. Why would you go so far for me, All Might? Izuku asked, confused by All Might's willingness to help. I won't let you experience the same pain I did. It only takes one bad day to destroy a person. I'll make sure that day never happens for you. Izuku felt tears welling up at All Might's words. Thank you, that's why you're always my hero, he said, hugging All Might, his idol. The day ended with Recovery Girl healing Shirnoa, and Izuku took her away, wanting to spend more time with her and their child. Meanwhile, Katsuki Bakugo was left confused about where his girlfriend had gone. Where is that by dash, he started, but his phone buzzed with a message. Shirnoa, babe, we're done, Katsuki. I'm breaking up with you, and I'm blocking your number. By Katsuki, filled with anger, smashed his phone in his hand, shattering it into pieces. He yelled in frustration, expressing his feelings about a situation that had clearly upset him. Meanwhile, after a few hours, Nizu was in a private meeting with All Might. All Might pleaded with Nizu, asking for a significant favor. Nizu, skilled at reading people, agreed to hear him out. All Might requested that Shirnoa Hiragi be guaranteed a place at UA, ideally in the same class as Izuku Midoriya. Nizu listened carefully, curious about the reasoning behind All Might's request. All Might took a moment to choose his words. He expressed his concern about creating a potential villain with a powerful quirk. He had seen the desperation in Izuku's eyes and felt compelled to help. He explained that Izuku was going to be a father and asked for a few months for them to be together, suggesting they could later reassess Shinoa's status in the hero course for health reasons. Nizu considered this and agreed to help expedite the creation of a dormitory for the first years. Grateful, All Might thanked Nizu, who acknowledged that he was also motivated by the longing to prevent someone with the ability to copy quirks from falling into villainy. They shook hands, agreeing to guide this situation positively. In another part of the story, Izuku texted Shinoa's older sister, Mahiru, letting her know he would be spending the night at a friend's house. She replied, reminding him to check in later. After their brief exchange, Izuku joined Shirnoa in bed, wrapping her in a blanket and whispering comforting words, promising he wouldn't leave her. Outside the door, Jean was making plans. She contacted her father, a doctor, asking for a favor. She needed a bodyguard for someone important to her MSTR. The doctor, in his laboratory, considered her request. He mentioned that he didn't have any finished subjects but might need to release one prematurely for the sake of his new potential MSTR. As Jean waited, she thought about Izuku and Shirnoa. She felt a sense of duty to protect what was important to Izuku and decided to help his mother, Inko, prepare dinner. After dinner, Izuku left Shirnoa sleeping and stepped outside, looking up at the starry sky. He expressed gratitude for the life he had, despite the hardships he had faced. Just then, he noticed Jean approaching and invited her to join him. Together, they admired the stars, and Izuku reassured her of her importance in his life, emphasizing that both she and Shirnoa mattered to him. Jean, feeling a mix of emotions, expressed her feelings of being unnecessary, but Izuku hugged her tighter, reassuring her of her value. You are important to me, both of you are, so stop with that self-torture you're doing. He nestled his head against her neck. Izuku, thank you for loving someone like me, someone who's not even human. Jean placed her hands on Izuku's arms that were hugging her. I don't care what you are, a clone, a homunculus, I don't care, you are who you are. You're Jean Alter, and that's all I need, Izuku replied, as Jean broke off the hug and faced him. You really know your way with words. She inched closer, their lips just an inch apart. I love you. I love you too. They shared a kiss under the moonlight. Ninth Quirk Izuku had received his and Shinoa's acceptance forms from UA days ago, and now they were in their UA uniforms, ready to go. Jean, however, chose to wear her own clothes and accompanied them as a sort of bodyguard, along with a little girl with silver hair. Izuku and Shinoa held each of Jackie's hands as they walked onto UA's grounds, with Jean following closely behind. So this is UA. It's huge, little Jackie exclaimed, astonished by the sight of the expansive school. Yes, dear, it's UA after all, Izuku said, giving Jackie a piggyback ride. Hey, MSTR, some students are staring at us, would you like me to handle them? Jean said coldly, making Izuku shiver. Of course not. Geez, Jean, calm down, he replied, noticing the stares from some students. Let them stare, I don't care what they think about us, he added, feeling frustrated by their judgmental gazes, which were focused on Jackie. Ignore them, he said as they continued walking toward the entrance. The group stood in front of the Class 1A door. It's huge, Shinoa whispered. Must be for people with mutant quirks that make them bigger than average, Izuku suggested, and Jean nodded in agreement, while Shinoa visibly considered this explanation. Izuku slid the door open, revealing some unique individuals inside. Oh hey man, it's you. Kirishima called out, waving at them. So we're classmates, good to K. Izuku's gaze wandered around the room until it landed on someone, and he felt a surge of anger. Deku terrorist, both Katsuki and Izuku said, glaring at each other. What are you doing here, you useless? You have no quirk. Bakugo shouted, while Izuku smirked. No quirk. But I do have one, and it's all thanks to Shinoa here that I awakened it, he said, resting his hands on Shinoa's hips, causing her to blush and Katsuki to fume. You cheated on me with that quirkless Deku, he yelled. Hey, should we step in? Denki Kaminari asked his new friend. Nah, I'll let this play out, Zero replied. I didn't. And we're done, so if I did get with him, what is it to you? We broke up, remember? Shinoa shouted, while Izuku held her back from reacting further. So you can talk back to me now, huh? Did that Deku give you confidence? Izuku had enough of the confrontation and stepped closer to Katsuki. If I did, would you blast me with your quirk? That's not very heroic, is it? You should have heard her say my name, he teased, watching Katsuki shake with anger. Come on, use your quirk, I dare you, he urged Bakugo. Just then, Katsuki swung a punch at Izuku, but it missed. Too slow. Katsuki's hand was caught by someone else, Tenya Ida, who reprimanded them. That's enough, both of you. This isn't proper behavior for students at UA. I'm sorry, Izuku said with a slight smile, though some could tell it was forced. He gestured for his group to join him. Come on, take your seats. Jean, you'll sit on my lap, and Jackie with Shinoa, he added, while Katsuki clicked his tongue in annoyance. Come here, Jean, Izuku said, inviting her to sit on his lap as he took a seat. What's all this commotion? A tired voice asked, drawing everyone's attention to the teacher's table. A dark-haired man stood up, wearing a black overall with a support weapon. I am Shoyuta Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher, he announced, his gaze landing on Izuku and Jean. He sighed, deciding to ignore them for now due to the lack of space for extra seats. Sir, are we late for orientation? Tenya Ida asked. Oh that. No, we won't be doing that. We have more important things to do than orientation, Aizawa replied, and Tenya sat back down. As Kirishima and Ochako exchanged glances, Kirishima signaled her not to speak up. He knew Aizawa's reputation for being strict. Good, looks like we have no problems. We'll start with self-introductions, Aizawa said, scanning the room and picking the first student. Good morning everyone, I'm Fumikage Tokoyami. My quirk is Dark Shadow, a sentient quirk I can call on command. My hobbies include the occult and supernatural forces. Tokoyami introduced himself with a bow. Aizawa nodded and called the next student. Morning everyone, my name is Denki Kaminari. My quirk is electricity. I can use electric charges that spark out of my body and control the voltage. I can also charge your phones, just let me know. My hobby is playing instruments, mainly the electric guitar, he said with a smile, and Aizawa nodded again. Izuku let out a sigh as everyone continued with their introductions. Kyoka Jiru, Kuji Koda, Tenya Ida, and Hanta Siro were present as introductions continued in the classroom. Minoru Mineta introduced himself, sharing that his quirk, Pop-Off, allowed him to remove his hair, which had unique properties. He ended his introduction with a grin, clearly focused on the girls in the room. Izuku noticed Mineta's gaze linger on a particular girl, who had striking features. Izuku couldn't help but think Mineta was being quite obvious. However, when Mineta's attention shifted towards him, particularly to Jean, who was sitting on his lap, Izuku felt a surge of protectiveness. He warned Mineta to stop staring, expressing his frustration with a hint of intimidation. Jean whispered in his ear, teasing him about his possessiveness. Mineta quickly apologized and returned to his seat. Aizawa then called on Katsuki Bakugo, who introduced himself with a boastful attitude, emphasizing the power of his quirk, Explosion. Denki interjected with a playful comment, which only fueled Bakugo's anger. Aizawa intervened, nullifying Bakugo's quirk to prevent any outbursts. Next, Shirnoa Hiragi stood up to introduce herself. She spoke warmly about her quirk, Death Scythe, and expressed her fondness for spending time with Izuku and their adopted daughter, Jackie. Aizawa noted the dynamics of the group, recognizing the maturity of the young couple. When it was Izuku's turn, he introduced himself and explained his quirk, All for One, which allowed him to copy others' quirks under specific conditions. Momo Yaoyorozu asked about the details of his quirk, and Izuku hesitated, feeling embarrassed about how he acquired it. He stumbled over his words, leading to surprised reactions from his classmates. Later, Izuku and Shirnoa, along with Jackie, arrived at UA, where Jackie was in awe of the school's size. Izuku reassured her, and Jean followed closely, making a protective comment about the stares they were receiving. Izuku dismissed the attention, feeling frustrated by the judgmental looks directed at them, especially towards Jackie. As they approached the Class 1A door, Izuku noted its size and speculated about the quirks of the students inside. Upon entering, he was greeted by Kirishima, who recognized him. However, the atmosphere shifted as Izuku locked eyes with Katsuki Bakugo, leading to a tense exchange filled with accusations and anger. Shirnoa defended herself against Bakugo's accusations, while Izuku tried to maintain peace, holding her back from retaliating. The confrontation escalated as Bakugo's anger boiled over, but Izuku stood his ground, teasing Bakugo and challenging him to act on his threats. The room was charged with tension as the dynamics between the characters unfolded, setting the stage for the challenges they would face together in UA. Come on, use your quirk, I dare you, he urged the already boiling Bakugo. Katsuki swung a punch toward Izuku's face, but it didn't connect. Too slow. Katsuki's hand was caught by someone else, not Izuku. That's enough, both of you. This isn't proper for students at UA, Tenya Ida reprimanded them. I'm sorry, Izuku said with a small smile, though some nearby could tell it was forced. He gestured for his group to come over. Come on, take your seats. Jean, you'll be sitting on my lap, and Jackie will be with Shirnoa. Katsuki clicked his tongue in annoyance. Come here, Jean, Izuku said, urging her to sit on his lap as he took a seat. What's all this commotion? A tired voice asked, looking at the new batch of students. Everyone turned to the teacher's table, where a dark-haired man had popped his head up. You all took almost a minute to quiet down, that won't work, he said, standing up to reveal his black suit and a support weapon that resembled a capturing device. I am Shoyuta Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher. His gaze landed on Izuku, who had Jean sitting on his lap. He sighed, thinking, I don't even want to deal with that, it's his quirk after all. He decided to ignore them for now since there wasn't enough space for extra seats. Sir, are we late for orientation? Tenya Ida asked, standing up. Oh, that. No, we won't be doing that. We have more important things to do, Aizawa replied, and Tenya sat back down. As Ochako was about to say something about the orientation, Kirishima gave her a stern signal to stop. He already knew what kind of teacher Aizawa was, having heard stories from All Might about how Aizawa had demoted students for arguing. Good, looks like we have no problems. We'll start with self-introductions. Aizawa looked around and picked the first student. Good morning, everyone. I'm Fumikage Tokoyami. My quirk is Dark Shadow, a sentient quirk I can call on command. My hobbies are the occult and the supernatural, Fumikage said, bowing to everyone. Aizawa nodded. Next by seat arrangements. Morning, everyone. I'm Denki Kaminari. My quirk is electricity, which lets me control electric charges that spark out of my body. I can also charge your phones. Just let me know. My hobby is playing instruments, mainly the electric guitar, he said with a smile. Aizawa nodded again and moved on. Izuku sighed as the introductions continued. Eijiro Kirishima, Rikido Satu, Tsuyu Azui, Mashareo Ojiro, Yuga Aoyama, Ochako Uraraka, Shoto Todoroki, Mezu Shuji, Tura Hagakure, Kyoka Jairu, Kuji Koda, Tenya Ida, Hanta Siro. I'm Minoru Mineta. My quirk is Pop Off, I can remove my hair, and each ball has sticky properties. I like girls, he said with a grin, eyeing the girls in the room. Izuku noticed Mineta's gaze lingering on a girl and thought, what a joke, he's not even trying to hide it. When Mineta's gaze shifted to Jean, who was still sitting on Izuku's lap, Izuku's protective instincts kicked in. Don't even think about it, Mineta. Finish your introduction and stop staring at my servant, he warned, a hint of intensity in his voice. Mineta quickly averted his gaze. Possessive now, are we? Jean whispered in Izuku's ear. Sorry, Mineta mumbled, finishing his introduction and taking his seat. Next. Aizawa's eyes locked onto Katsuki Bakugo. I'm Katsuki Bakugo, and my quirk is Explosion. I can sweat out nitroglycerin and detonate it at will. Awesome, right? Far stronger than your quirks, he introduced himself, attempting to assert his demps. Quit bragging. Denki yelled before hiding himself, chuckling. Who said that? I swear I'm gonna get you. Katsuki shouted, but Aizawa glared at him and nullified his quirk. That's enough. You can take your seat, Aizawa said, and Katsuki ground his teeth in frustration. Alright, who's next? Aizawa asked, and Shirnoa stood up, putting Jackie down. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shirnoa Hiragi. My quirk is Death Side, and my hobby is spending time with the person I love and spoiling my little adopted daughter, Jackie, she said, wrapping her arms around Izuku and kissing him on the cheek, much to Katsuki's annoyance. I see, I guess these two are a couple, and that little girl is their adopted daughter. What a troublesome group of children, Aizawa thought, sighing. I guess you're done, he said as Shirnoa nodded and took her seat, placing Jackie back on her lap. Looks like it's my turn. The name's Izuku Midoriya. My quirk is All for One, which allows me to copy people's quirks, but I can only copy women's quirks, and the time limit varies. Sometimes I can use a copied quirk for 2 days, the longest was a week. He paused, noticing the amazed gazes from everyone except Aizawa, who already knew the truth, and Katsuki, who was fuming. A question, please, an elegant voice caught his attention. It was Momo Yaoyorozu, looking intrigued. Yes, what is it, Ms. Yaoyorozu, he replied. I was curious how you can copy a woman's quirk and what its activation entails, she asked, her interest piqued. Izuku began to sweat nervously. We can't talk about that, he stammered, feeling embarrassed. Why, Midoriya-san, she asked, confused by his reaction. It's because I gain quirks through, redacted activities with girls, he said meekly, looking away. What? Denki and Mineta exclaimed, interpreting it in their own way. 10th quirk. Almost everyone was talking with each other about Izuku's quirk. Aizawa-sensei intervened, saying, "That's enough. Let's just leave it at that. Midoriya here copies quirks from females and could gain them through a close interaction. That's it." He then addressed Izuku, "And you, Izuku Midoriya, stop egging one of your classmates into attacking you." Izuku merely smiled at that. Messing with Bakugo was just one of his ways of getting rid of his boredom. "Okay, sensei," he replied, still with a fake smile on his face. "Now come here and take one of these PE uniforms and go to your designated changing room, except for the little girl and Midoriya's servant. You two wait with me outside for the rest of them." The students complied while Izuku shrugged his arms. UAPE grounds. Aizawa stood with Jean and Jackie, waiting for the students to finish changing. "Whoa, it's so spacious." Class 1A arrived outside, taking in the vast scenery. "It took you guys 8 minutes to prepare, do better next time." Izuku arrived last, whistling at the vast field. Running around this place would be a good warm-up. He stood beside Shinoa. "Are you sure you can do this test?" he whispered, concerned for her and their child. "I can, don't worry," she retorted while Izuku lightly rubbed Shinoa's belly. "Just be careful, if you can't take it, just tell me." Their eyes met, and she nodded. "Good." Izuku let her go, feeling relieved. "Since everyone is here, we might as well start with the quirk apprehension test, using this ball right here." Aizawa continued to lightly throw the ball up and catch it while observing his students. "You, Izuku Midoriya, come here," he called, pointing at Izuku and then to the circle on the ground. "Stay in that circle there, and what's your farthest ball throw in middle school?" Izuku thought for a moment. "I think it's around 60 to 70 meters, that's it." Aizawa nodded. "Take this ball and throw it as far as you can with the use of your quirk," Aizawa instructed. Izuku grinned faintly as Aizawa passed him the ball. "I could do that." He looked down, ensuring he was perfectly inside the circle. "Manifest, Death Scythe," Izuku declared, activating Shinoa's quirk. Katsuki watched, fuming. "Physical reinforcements," Izuku whispered as he felt his body strengthen. "Here I go." He placed the ball on the flat surface of the scythe and looked at the sky. "Sky Splitter," he shouted, swirling around and slashing with the scythe, sending the ball flying with red and black energy. Everyone looked up in awe as the energy figure grew smaller and smaller. 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 7 seconds. After 18 seconds, the device in Aizawa's hand beeped. "Now we're talking, this is why I'm telling you guys to do your best." Aizawa rotated the device for everyone to see Izuku's score. 4 kilometers. "Man, what the heck? You're a monster." Denki ran to Izuku and patted his back in a friendly manner, impressed by Izuku's power. After the test ended, Aizawa announced, "All right, since you all did your best, here's the list of scores." A hologram appeared, displaying their names. First, Izuku Midoriya second, Ijiro Kirishima third, Momo Yaoyorozu fourth, Katsuki Bakugo fifth, Shoto Todoroki sixth, Ochako Uraraka seventh, Shinoa Hiragi last, Minoru Mineta. Everyone, including Izuku, looked at Mineta, who was shaking. They knew Aizawa was capable of expelling students without hesitation. "He's going to get expelled, huh?" "Can't say I saw that coming," Izuku lightly remarked, ensuring only Kyoka Jairu and Aizawa could hear him. "Oh no, I got last." Aizawa-sensei expelled a class last year for not doing their best, Mineta said in fear, looking at Aizawa, who simply smirked and said, "Don't worry, I won't expel someone like last year, so you problem children can ease up." Figures, Mineta did excel at side-to-side jumps, Izuku noted, although that was almost all Mineta had since he usually scored mid to low on other tests. "Yes. I finally got a chance," Mineta exclaimed, relieved he wouldn't be expelled on the first day. "Enough with that, back to the classroom, problem children," Aizawa instructed. Everyone began walking back to their building, except for Mineta, who was still in disbelief. "I did it, Mom wouldn't be so disappointed with me. I have a chance." Mineta exclaimed, while Izuku lingered, watching him. "You did get a chance, but why don't you tone down that behavior, and maybe, just maybe," Izuku suggested, crossing his arms as he walked away. He glanced back and added, "Maybe you could get a girlfriend too. Just a thought, it's up to you." Mineta pondered the idea as Izuku walked away. "Right, this isn't high school DxD. I don't have the boosted gear or even the charisma of Issei Hayadu," he thought, glancing at Izuku as he followed them into the building. Izuku had recently manifested an extraordinary ability linked to his quirk, sprouting 2 large black wings. This transformation not only elevated his status but also instilled a sense of fear in those around him, effectively diminishing their morale. He possessed a unique ability to adjust his physical appearance to align with the fantasies of those around him, particularly women. This quirk allowed him to read their desires and modify his body accordingly, creating an appealing image that catered to their preferences. Additionally, Izuku's BLD had remarkable properties that could enhance the urges of others, acting as a powerful stimulant. If someone felt even a hint of affection for him, they would be overwhelmed by an intense longing. However, if they did not have such feelings, his BLD would remain ordinary. During a state he referred to as the lustful king awakening, Izuku experienced a surge of primal instincts, resulting in a significant transformation. This state not only altered his physical attributes but also allowed him to gain enhanced versions of quirks from those he interacted with. Izuku also discovered a healing ability that could benefit women, requiring a specific method to activate. This healing process was contingent on a close physical connection. In a collaborative effort with Jean, Izuku could replenish her mana reserves, preventing her from experiencing exhaustion. He had learned the importance of maintaining her energy levels to avoid any adverse effects. The following day, the students were abuzz with speculation about their new teacher. Kirishima wondered if it would be someone from the top ranks of heroes, while Denki expressed a preference for a heroine over their current instructor. Izuku observed Mineta, relieved that the boy had remained quiet. He turned to Jean, who was seated comfortably on his lap, and inquired about her energy levels. She responded that she was managing but could benefit from a quicker recharge. Izuku offered his assistance, knowing that their unique connection could help her regain strength more rapidly. Nearby, Kyoka Jiru listened in, puzzled by their conversation and curious about the implications of Izuku's words. Suddenly, All Might burst into the room, startling everyone. His entrance was met with excitement as he announced that he would be their heroics teacher. The students were eager to learn from him, and he encouraged them to suit up for a battle trial, assuring them that their hero costumes had been tailored to their specifications. As the students made their way to the changing room, Izuku offered encouragement to Tenya Ida, who was trying to maintain order. Ida appreciated the support, feeling recognized for his efforts. In the changing room, Izuku's physique garnered attention from his classmates. They were impressed by his dedication to fitness, with Kirishima and others praising his hard work. Despite some skepticism from Katsuki, Kirishima defended Izuku, affirming that his muscles were a result of natural training. The camaraderie and excitement among the students set the stage for their upcoming challenges as they prepared to embrace their roles as heroes in training. As if that Deku was a scrawny weakling just a few months ago, there's no way he could gain muscles that quickly. Katsuki insisted, refusing to let it go. Bakugo, don't you think that's Ida tried to intervene, but Katsuki pointed at him and shouted, don't butt in on this, this is between me and him. Izuku, however, remained unresponsive, giving Katsuki an apathetic gaze. Just leave me alone, he said as he prepared to change into his suit. I'm talking to you, Deku. I'm not done with you yet. Katsuki shouted, trying to confront Izuku, but Rikido Sato and Mezu Shoji held him back. Just go away, I don't want to hear what you have to say, Izuku replied, turning his back. Come on, man, just let it go already, Denki urged. Leave off. Like you took my girlfriend, Deku. Is that it? Katsuki pressed, clearly agitated. Did you enjoy my sloppy seconds, huh? A powerful gust of wind erupted, pushing Katsuki back and forcing Sato and Shoji to sit down from the shockwave. Say that again, and I'll make you regret it. Izuku's eyes glowed with intensity, filled with anger. Never mind, you don't even have a heart to take out. He stood tall, locking eyes with Katsuki. She chose me, feeling sorry for what you did to me all those years. Do you remember how you bullied me for being quirkless? You and your friends abused me for being powerless, for being a Deku. The ground trembled beneath Izuku's rage. Have you ever thought about how I felt when you burned my notebooks, stole the girls I liked, or pushed me down the stairs? He continued, gritting his teeth. I don't care about your feelings. Stop looking down on me as if you're better. You're just a Deku. It doesn't matter if you have a quirk now, you're still useless. To everyone's surprise, Katsuki was punched by Mineta. Shut up. I've had enough of your insults. You can't just call someone useless. Mineta shouted, standing up for Izuku. You're useless, you can't even do one job I tell you to do. Katsuki retorted, wiping away the BLD from his chin. He was ready to retaliate, but Izuku grabbed him by the neck and slammed him into the lockers. That's enough from you, Izuku said, his breathing steadying as he looked at the unconscious Katsuki embedded in the lockers. Just then, the girls entered the changing room, alerted by the commotion. What happened here? Momo Yaoyorozu asked, noticing Katsuki's condition. Ida sighed and explained, Midoriya-san here did it. Bakugo was provoking him, even calling Midoriya-san's girlfriend his sloppy seconds. Momo observed the rage in Izuku's eyes but chose not to pry further. Alright, if it's Bakugo's fault for pushing Midoriya, we'll need to take him to Recovery Girl. I'll inform All Might Sensei that we'll need at least half an hour to prepare while we wait for Bakugo to recover. Sato volunteered to take Katsuki away. Jin and Shirnoa hugged Izuku, while Jackie held on to his leg. You lashed out because of me, didn't you? Shirnoa asked softly, to which he simply replied, yeah, kissing her forehead. I won't tolerate insults directed at those I care about. We'll give you guys some space, Ida instructed, leading everyone else outside for fresh air. Left alone, Izuku vented his frustrations. I was so close, he yelled, kicking a stool in anger. I wanted to make him regret everything. Another locker flew across the room. He pushed me too far. He triggered every button. He turned to Shirnoa, gently cupping her cheeks. He insulted you, a tear fell from his eye. No one has the right to insult you. He wiped away the tear on her face. You're doing everything you can, she replied, tears streaming down her cheeks. Ignore his insults, you can control yourself but I can't. I promise you today I won't kill him, but he's going to wish I did. Izuku looked away, hiding the intensity of his feelings. He sat in his small office, which consisted of a simple table, a lone chair, and a lamp illuminating the space. On the table lay blueprints and various test results from his extensive research, with a single picture resting in the center. The picture depicted him and his grandson. Just you wait, my boy, it's almost finished, he murmured, glancing at the seventh tank that contained a figure. My seventh prototype is nearly complete, codename, Oberon, he stated as the scene widened to reveal more than a dozen tanks. Artoria Alter is ready, I should send her to my MSTR. He dialed Jean's number. After a few rings, Jean answered. Yes, document. What do you need? The doctor paused before responding, you have a new sister. Please pick her up for the MSTR. I'll text you the coordinates. He heard Jean's grumble before she replied, okay, I'll pick her up. He ended the call, feeling satisfied. This is the right course. I'll serve the boy as his doctor and scientist, providing him with strength to conquer and placing my daughters in the right hands, he thought, sinking back into the comfort of his chair. At Ground Beta, everyone gathered in the viewing room, including Bakugo, who had fully healed and was eager to participate. Izuku received a warning for nearly injuring Bakugo, but he was confident he wouldn't be suspended or expelled. Please, Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo, contain yourselves and do not cause a disturbance today, or I will have to expel one of you, All Might warned, giving them a stern look. Izuku remained unfazed, returning the gaze, while Bakugo flinched. Am I understood? All Might asked, and Izuku nodded while Bakugo replied, Why yes, sir. Bakugo admired All Might, and the thought of disappointing him kept him in check. Please, one by one, take one of these lettered ball, All Might instructed, dropping the ball back into a spherical jar. White is for heroes, black is for villains, and the letter indicates the teams. Momo Yaoyorozu was the first to pick a ball, keeping her team designation to herself. Everyone took their turns, and All Might, observing the teams, displayed them through a hologram. Since young Todoroki prefers not to work with anyone, he'll be Team K. Our first match is Team A, Ochako Uraraka and Eijiro Kirishima vs Team C, Momo Yaoyorozu and Minoru Mineta. The match began, and it was clear that Team A dominated, with Kirishima proving too strong for Momo's traps and Mineta's sticky ball. All teams had their moments to shine, except for Team I, Ojiro and Hagakure, who faced Team K, Shoto Todoroki. Todoroki won by freezing the entire building, showcasing his mastery of his ice quirk, though no one witnessed his fire quirk. As the final match approached, Izuku's grin widened at the thought of their opponents. After all that powerful and genius mastery of their quirk usage, it's now time for the last match to demonstrate their own mastery and intellect, All Might explained, pointing to Izuku and Shirnoa. Last match, Team B, Izuku Midoriya and Shirnoa Hiragi vs Team D, Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida. All Might highlighted their teams, wishing them good luck. Villains, ha. Say, All Might, if we're the villains, we can use villainous tactics, right? Izuku asked. You can embrace your roles and do whatever you need to be villainous and heroic, All Might replied, prompting Izuku's smirk to widen. Good, just so you know, I'm a pretty good actor. I might scare you. As the match began, Izuku and Shirnoa took a fake bomb and positioned it nearby. Izuku constructed a makeshift throne using broken pillars and sat down, with Shirnoa perched on his lap as they awaited the countdown. This isn't enough presentation, I should add, Izuku said, unfurling his enormous wings and letting them rest on the floor, covering Shirnoa's legs. This should be good enough, right, Shirnoa, he asked. She nodded and inquired, Are you playing the role of a demon king? Yup. Izuku replied. Does that mean I'm your beloved demon queen? She smiled. Of course, he said, lifting her chin. You'll always be my queen. He glanced at the timer as it hit 0. 0. All right, we'll wait for them, and the fun begins. They both focused on the only door in the spacious room. Class 1A watched Izuku and Shirnoa's preparation, some in awe and others in fear of Izuku's form. Hawks, resembling a handsome man with red wings, contrasted sharply with Izuku, who looked like a fallen angel. They really embraced their roles as villains. Midoriya-kun even mentioned playing the roles of a demon king and queen, Tsuyu Azuri noted, her finger to her mouth as they all focused on the large TV showing live footage of the building. He's fully into the role. It wouldn't be surprising if he engaged in a mental battle with Katsuki Bakugo instead of actual combat, Tokoyami remarked, aware of the darkness Izuku possessed. I sense that darkness will envelop this match. He's a fallen angel against a team of heroes, he added. Yes, I can see that. Young Midoriya's acting skills are exceptional, it's hard to tell if he's acting or not, All Might commented, while his students watched the screen with keen interest. Let's see if young Bakugo and his partner, young Ida, can face these two villains. With his heightened senses, Izuku could feel and hear the two heroes approaching. They're almost here, ready your weapon, my love, he said. Without hesitation, Shirnoa manifested her large scythe as they both prepared for the entrance. 3-2, the door was blown open as Katsuki and Ida made their entrance. Found you, Deku, and your companion. I'll make you pay. Izuku smirked at Katsuki's reckless outburst. Make me pay. Aren't heroes supposed to capture villains? He taunted, his confidence evident. Ida, stepping into his role, declared, we're here to detain you and your partner, you vile villains. Suddenly, a flap of Izuku's wings sent both of them stumbling back. I'm not like you. Katsuki shouted, his anger getting the better of him. Izuku took advantage of the moment, swiping Katsuki away with his wing, causing him to crash into a wall. You're predictable, do better. Izuku taunted as Shirnoa seized her opportunity to attack Ida with her weapon. You are a slow villainess. Ida countered, trying to kick Shirnoa, but she blocked it effortlessly. And you're too weak, hero. You don't deserve to face my beloved, she retorted, aiming to incapacitate him, but Ida managed to dodge just in time. Bakugo. Can you hear me? Can you still fight? Ida called out, noticing Katsuki slowly getting back on his feet. I'm fine. Just take care of that villainess, and I'll handle Deku. Katsuki commanded, and Ida nodded in agreement. My, aren't you a fragile hero? Just one attack, and you look like you're on the brink, Izuku said as he flew toward Bakugo. Let me make it worse, he added, delivering a powerful kick that sent Katsuki reeling. Not yet. I can't lose to you. Katsuki shouted, unleashing a blast in Izuku's direction as he regained his footing. Shirnoa. Stop playing with that hero and finish him. Izuku urged, rushing forward to strike Katsuki's knees. You'll pay for that. Katsuki yelled, deflecting Izuku's attacks as he tried to recover. All right, my beloved, as you wish. Shinoa's eyes glowed red as she transformed, her strength and speed increasing dramatically. She charged at Ida, catching him off guard and knocking him out with a swift blow. Great, now I've lost an ally, Katsuki grumbled, frustration evident on his face. Oh, now we have heroes calling each other useless, that's new, Izuku remarked. Suddenly appearing behind Katsuki and placing him in a chokehold. Are you really a hero? Izuku questioned, his grip tightening. Forget you. Katsuki managed to retort, but Izuku only chuckled. What a poor excuse for a hero. Are you even one? Katsuki struggled against Izuku's hold, gasping for breath. Let me go, you monster, Izuku laughed, releasing him momentarily before pinning his hands against a wall with several knives. The prologue has ended, and the first chapter is about to start, Izuku said, glancing at the CCTV. Young Midoriya, what are you planning? All Might's voice echoed through the speakers, but Izuku only smiled at the camera before it shattered, cutting off the feed. Something isn't right, All Might said, concern creeping into his voice. Since you're stuck there, I want to do something to truly break you, hero, just like how you broke me years ago, Izuku's voice echoed through the speakers, revealing a dark past between him and Katsuki. As Shirnoa approached Izuku and shared a passionate kiss, he continued, I'll break you piece by piece and shatter the high position you've put yourself in. He teasingly caressed Katsuki's cheek, reminding him of the stakes. Just wait until I get out of these restraints, I will make you pay. Katsuki shouted defiantly. No, you misunderstand. You are merely an audience, Izuku replied, unbuttoning Shinoa's clothing slightly to reveal what Katsuki had lost. I promised, didn't I? I'd break you. As Izuku bit his lip, letting a drop of blood fall, he kissed Shinoa again, her body responding to the intensity of the moment. I want you to watch, with both your eyes open. I want to see you crumble firsthand, Kaken.